All right. I am so blessed that you are here in this training. And I know that you're going to get so much out of this training. So much. So let's dive right in. So let's wake you up to what you have forgotten. And that is that miracles, they are your birthright, right? Miracles. Oh my goodness. So, welcome. You are here because you know that more is possible for you. You sense that you are missing a very big piece of what life has to offer, and you're finally sick and tired of being sick and tired. You are done with the suffering. In the chaos of your mind, you can't even recall the last time that you felt like you, yet alone, passionate to be living your one and only life. So you're praying for a miracle and you are losing faith in the distraction of the lies that convince you that maybe miracles are not for you. Even worse, you are in the grip of the nasty lie that somehow you are doing life wrong and you're just broken. So you get stuck in loops wondering who the heck you are. And then you wonder if you have been dealt a bad hand of cards. And then you ask, what's the point, right? Do I know you just a little bit? Okay. Well, here's the deal. The objective of this training is to go from victim to creator in your own life. So to change your energy and how you feel about your life so far. And this means leaving this training from holy shit to holy shift and having internal shifts, which will leave you feeling energized once you discover that you're not alone in your suffering. My goal is to empower you enough to take the inspired action that alters the trajectory of your life. And I will awaken you to the truths that show you that you really are more powerful than the stories that you tell yourself. I will take you to higher heights and tell you stories that spark your desire to keep going on your own hero's journey. I will also offer you an additional tool at the end of the video for the committed heart who knows that this is your next obvious step. I will reflect back to you how truly worthy you are of your heart's desires. And past the painful wounds and negative energy, this will spark the change of your paradigm, right? So, who the heck am I? Why do I have any notion to be speaking to you about this? Well, I'm Brianna. For those who don't know me, I am someone who thinks like a psychologist, who operates with the heart of a lion and dances with the soul of a mystic. And it is my firm belief that breakthroughs are the most transformative once we embrace the darkness within ourselves. Once we reflect on our karmic relationships and move out of complexity into really profound, simple truths. It is my mission to empower you out of your suffering into the light after my own experience of hell. Now, it is my purpose to revive your human heart and to unleash your full power and potential. I built a company with the slogan and model that goes like this: be you, be authentic, and believe. By the power of three and the letter B. These are the pillars to your new foundation. Now, it really is normal to have a miracle once you start to believe in them, right? So let's go into this and let's dive deep. So, first off, what is victim consciousness? Consciousness in itself is the state of awareness that you are operating out of. It is the level of awareness that you see through. In this frequency of a victim, you will see yourself through a broken lens in which life is happening to you, completely out of your control. You mistake the broken lens for believing that you are broken. You will find this evidence and the evidence of this by what has happened already to you in your childhood and in your life experiences. Now, you have built a database and beliefs that keep you feeling powerless to make this true. The victim consciousness is identified heavily on the past and cannot see past this. So when you are so up close to your past and unwilling to let it go, you're unable to move past it, right? Now, you know that you're in this victim consciousness and this frequency when you're identified heavily with emotions like anxiety, like depression, when you're experiencing this most of the time. So you're having hopeless thoughts, you're feeling defeat, you have so much struggle. There's so much conflict, right? And the tension alone is miserable. You might feel desperate. It might come from this deep lack, like something is unfulfilled within you. In this, it's a reflection of your low confidence, it's a reflection of your low self esteem. Therefore, you perpetuate out into even more resistance. You might even have a really horrible self image with no standards, no boundaries. And the key here is that you are constantly in fight or flight, in survival mode. When you're in survival mode, in victim consciousness, this will result in having no energy. Why? Well, when you're in survival, that takes a lot of freaking effort to hold on to something in fear that you might die, right? So when you're in literal death energy, it makes sense that your ego mind is trying to protect you because that's how it's been wired. It now needs upgraded. Now that we are aware that this is a choice, and it is something we can change. Now we are able to create. But if you are in this victim consciousness, it will tie your hands behind your back, it will blindfold you, and it will convince you to stay in a nasty cycle where you are cut off, literally, from your life source. Why? Again, because there is no life source when you are in constant fear of death. Your mind perceives everything as a threat, and your life force is your energy, your sexual energy, your creative energy, your spiritual energy, all things energy that help you thrive. So ask yourself this: what is the pain if nothing changes? Now that we're aware enough to know that we're struggling and we're suffering and we're in pain, what is the bigger cost if nothing changes? If this training wasn't available to you and nothing else was available to you, what is the greater pain if you stay in this level of consciousness, this victim mentality? What are you losing? What's the pain? I mean, for me, being depressed all the time, wanting to not live, wanting to just survive the next 24 hours, that alone was painful. Painful enough to not want to be here and to say that often, right? So if I were to jump into your body, what would I be saying to myself most of the time? If I were to hop out of my body into your body, what would I be experiencing and feeling most of the time? Am I excited? Am I lit up? Am I passionate? Am I creative? Am I just so excited to be living my life? Or am I Eeyore and I hate the way that I feel? And I hate everybody around me. And I experience misery on a regular basis. Who would I be? Right? This will help you become more aware, right? Ask the questions because awareness is our first step to evolution. Now, first, we need to identify where we are at because then and only then can we decide where we are going. A GPS is no good to anyone if we don't have a destination. Although the GPS isn't broken, the directions are. So you're in this training because you're trying to get somewhere. So my question to you is where? You're experiencing depression, you're experiencing lack, you're not fulfilled, you don't have the relationship, the job, the money, the things, the material gain, you're not inspired, you're not creative, you're not feeling what you know is possible. So, where are we heading to? Clarity is king. We know we want to feel different, but our actions and our words, they don't match up, right? So, it is so past time for you to experience your unfolding of miracles. It's so past time, like 10 years ago, right? If you can set down your assumptions that they are certainly for others but not you, then we have a chance. So again, what is at stake here if you are not proactive in the creation of your future? Right? I want you to think about that. When we're in victim consciousness, we believe that someone is coming to our aid to rescue us. So why is it non-negotiable for you right now to not step into your power? What makes you so sure that you have to change, that you're willing to do that training? Now, when you ask yourself, who is coming to save me? Is that the government? Is that the parents? Is that the neighbors? Is that the friends? Or is that the belief systems that you are stuck in that need changing? Who is coming at your aid? Now, when you ask yourself this question, you will discover what it is that is being withheld from you. What do you feel the world is withholding from you? What is it that you want so bad that feels like it is being withheld from you? Is it love? Is it excitement? Is it joy? Is it money? Is it more things? Is it relationships? So now that we have an idea of where we want to go, now we can step into the creator consciousness. Now, this consciousness can determine how awake we really are. A creator is going to see the life that is actually happening for him or her at every present moment. It is the excitement that unfolds in the mystery behind what is coming next. It is being an active participant in the one life that you have been given. The creator uses the alchemy to shift pain into purpose, and this archetype identity lives in you dormant. The creator consciousness is very aware of its worth just by being, and will morph life experiences that were once hard into an art. In the awakening of this state of being, you see that you are limitless, and limitations, they will fall to the wayside. This person, this consciousness, this identity, this archetype knows it needs no saving because it is creating. This is the positive side of the battery. This is the attractor. The feelings that you are familiar with most of the time living in this place of identity is peace and trust and hope. It's creativity, unconditional love, overexcitement. It is flow. It's a contentment, an everlasting joy. It is bliss, so confident, self encouraged, fully embodied. It is fulfilled. It is alive. It is happy. And it's expanded. It's open and it's energized. In this energy, we are in harmony with the life that we are around. The energy in this harmony is in harmony with all that is around it, right? The creator consciousness is not waiting for the neighbor, the friends, the people, the next thing to save it, because it recognizes that life is unfolding in every moment. And at every moment, it will use alchemy to change something hard into something that is creative. It's art. It is choosing to move from one system to another. Now, when you're supercharged like this, you will experience ideas, inspiration, possibility, limitless drive, dancing with life force, and we go from thinking to feeling again. We remove the barriers that have disconnected us from what is really ours to have experienced in the first place. And I want to ask you something really, really simple. How do you get a dog to come? If you have a puppy, you have a pet, how do you get a dog to come? You have to give it a name. You have to use the name. And instantly it's right there. It's available to you. So I encourage you to give her a name, right? You're in victim consciousness now. You're experiencing emotions that are heavy, that don't light you up, that make you feel dead inside, that are having you at the negative charge of the battery, right? And if we're going to go from negative to positive, we're going to call on her. We're going to call on the higher version of us that knows that we are here for more. We are here to live our best lives in the full potential in our unfolding. What is her name? What does she look like? What does she think? What does she feel? Right? We're going to use that name and pull on it every time we get stuck in the old pattern. Now, if you were to Google the biggest problems in humanity right now, you will see that denial is the number one issue that shows up. So in this training, it is my mission and my message really for you to stop denying how much pain you are actually in, to stop denying the suffering that has taken place. Now, in order to do that, you would have to understand the problem and what the problem is actually offering you in its solution. If you're in a victim consciousness, then that is the ability to deflect your power, to not own your power, right? The victim consciousness is actually saving you from something that you don't want to experience because your light is really big. And when you're used to the dark, you want to stay there because something so magnificent can be so overbearing sometimes. Now, notice energy being the second thing on the list is interesting, really interesting. And I'm so damn glad that someone is awake enough to see this as an issue because we act like it is not ours to control. We act like our energy is there, but it's gone because of X, Y, and Z and the to-do list and the struggle and the complexity and the breathe. We're going to get through it. We're going to be okay. And it is evident that human suffering made it to the top 10 list. Human suffering is the biggest problem in humanity. And here's the biggest lie of all. You're convinced that you have no say in this problem. That's the real issue, is you believe that you are a victim to it. Now, pause. Isn't it odd that we are all in different experiences having the same experience? Isn't that strange? Now that makes me wonder, is it personal? Why aren't the shadows of the ego or the fear talked about more? Like, why do we abandon the things that are dark and pretend they aren't there? Now, here's the truth. Wounds don't care about your ethnicity. Cannot talk. Ethnicity. They don't care about your background or your culture. Your wounds only care about their protection. Now, could you really be the only one experiencing those negative feelings? Pause. The wounds don't care about where you're from, where you've been, where you're going. They only care about their protection. So isn't it weird that all of humanity as a collective experiences this swing? And shame, oh boy, shame. Shame is the biggest liar of all. It tells you to hide all of your crap because if someone found out that this was your experience, that would mean that you were unloved. Now, isn't it weird that no one wants to show the negative side of the coin? But by denying this aspect, we go living our lives feeling unwhole, feeling like something is missing because we deny the other side of the aspect. Now, is struggle personal, or have we been identifying with it for so long that we took it on and made it our identity? Is pain really meant to bleed into our futures to the point of mistrust in others or ourselves? And how? How did it get so bad left unchecked? Now, if we are in the dark unknowingly, then you will feel threatened by the polar opposite because you're not familiar with its presence, right? If you only know suffering and pain, then when love shows up, you will reject it, therefore not recognize the miracle or the love or the thing that you're calling in because you're so comfortable in the misery. You're so comfortable with it, you don't even know you're in it. In fact, love is the perfect example of this because we want it so bad. So when it shows up, we're unfamiliar with its presence. It feels threatening to the experiences we've had our entire lives. Now, here's my transformation on my relationship with suffering. And this was my transformation in being in total victimhood for very good reasons, right? The database is very legit reasons why we have experienced pain and trauma. The consciousness of the creator is choosing not to stay in it. So before being aware and having a training similar to this, I had experienced multiple things, and it went like this. My father left at 9 years old. I took on abandonment. I had a family split 3 different times where my parents got divorced and married other people. That caused me to be in diversity and not feel safe and always looking for a home, always moving 3 years. Then I would become overweight and develop body shame by the age of 13 and 14, being sexually abused by someone very close to me. I would then develop breast cysts with health issues in neglect of my own internal world and not nurturing my own needs. I would then go on to be in a dangerous relationship at the age of 17. I was married at 20, experienced abusive cycles on the mental, physical, and emotional level, where he was in jail most of the time. I would then get divorced and experience another marriage where there was drug substance abuse, and then abandonment where he left, and no longer did I have anywhere else to escape to. I would then find myself in deep trust issues and a perfectionist cycle that had me believing I was on my own, being in a masculine dominant energy in the corporate world for over 8 years and using my willpower to prove I was worthy, and then to find I was in a burnout cycle. I was disgusted by my emotions. The lows were low. The depression would rob me, and I would experience all of the victim emotions and more that I have shared with you thus far. It's a short little recap. So in 2020, I made the big decision. I am done being victim to my misery. My transformation up to date. I quit my 8 year corporate career and I left my safety net of the 9 to 5 gig. I pursued my business passions, empowering others, teaching and speaking. I left the country for 2 months, went to Bali, Indonesia, which has always been a bucket list. I started a book coming at you soon called Heart Explosions. I attracted a harmonious relationship with someone who actually sees me. I now know love, respect, and loyalty. I embraced my own feminine qualities and 10x'd my energy by a long shot. I moved homes, and then I went from perfectionist and then went into already being whole and perfect in Him, in my Creator. Then I found my soul family and my soul friends who actually aligned with who and what I deserve. And then I became conscious of my decisions and creations. I adopted the miracle mindset with spiritual principles. And now I know my worth. And this is where the gold is at: self-worth. I let others in and I source my love from within. I feel whole and I have meaningful connections. I no longer try so hard. I let it be easy. I travel the world. I started my book and I'm still pursuing my goals. I want to be very clear here, though. I had to rewire my mind to a miracle mind. And in 2022, where we're at now, I daily take 4 simple steps every single day to continue the exponential expansion. So, how do we go from A to B? Well, the problem: the structure you are in was never meant to support a spiritual being having a human experience. It supports the human being who is unaware of their spiritual being. So I want you to really let that sink in. The structure that you are in right now in this world, whatever circumstance, was never meant to support a spiritual being having a human experience. It supports the human being who is unaware of their spiritual being, right? You're asleep. You have no idea what the heck's inside of you. You have no idea how awesome you are, how freaking cool you are, how badass you are. So the structure is the issue, and it's not personal. Your victim mentality has made this personal. Remove you from the equation for just a moment. You have been conditioned to believe in the model, in the structure, that you need to do something to have something, to finally be something. In this get something mentality, you get more of what you already have, and you have struggled, and so you will continue to get more struggle because you are trying to do your way to being enough and being worthy, being capable, being significant, being whole, and being lovable, right? So this is backwards. It is all backwards. In attempt to solve victim consciousness, you disconnect from the negative emotion, and then you go and seek something outside of yourself to fill the void, and this results in hunger. It's insatiable. The disconnection from your emotion only supports sabotage. Now, because you've been unwilling to feel, you are unable to heal. Now, you hate how you feel. So, again, you disconnect. This is an issue. So, the big D, oh my gosh, the big D, this is your first step. So, I want you to understand you and I can go no further in this training, literally, until you have already decided for yourself. The big D. This is the decision that you have already made to never again settle for less than who you really are. Not one more day will you allow your unconscious patterns to stop stop you from living your dreams. Not one more day, not one more hour, not one more second will you tolerate less than you actually deserve. Now, you have a burning desire to know what miracles are waiting for you once you override your negative thoughts and emotions. So you are done identifying with the past. We're done. Been there, done that. You have come to this soul commitment to fight for you. Now, my friends, it is time to burn the boats. Now, we are not going back to our limiting beliefs. We are to the point of no return. We are deciding to leave the small self behind. Burn the ship and promise me after today that there is no going back. Burn the boats means that we are not willing to sit in our victim consciousness anymore, and we are done being the us that is used to feeling depression, anxiety, and guilt and shame and siding with the enemy that keeps us small. We're going to burn the boat so we can become really large and get what we actually know is truly possible. Now, here's the enemy. Here's the actual enemy. The crabs, the old self, are the crabs. Okay. The crabs are going to come and pull you back down. Pull you back down. Because you're used to being in a grungy place that you've been operating. So crabs are anyone or any thought putting you back down to the bottom of the barrel because it's who you've been. Your environment is going to attempt to keep you where you have been. Do not cave to the pressure. If you can, change your environment now. The enemy are the naysayers who are going to be upset with you in your decision to change because it will reflect where they have not yet made this decision. Okay, it's not personal. It will reflect to them where they are not showing up for themselves in this same way. Mind you, the naysayers are the people who used to have a negative interaction with you, and they're looking to connect to your old self that is no longer there. It is totally normal for these relationships to fall away to become who you have always been. Now, you no longer feed yourself from this negativity, so you save yourself and attract all that you actually deserve. Now, your old habits, they know after deciding that they are in jeopardy. The ego mind will feel that this is dangerous and unsafe because your old personality knows that it is at stake, so your mind will attempt its survival. It will kick in and get really loud. Your biggest enemy will be the person within you, the voice within you that says, "This is very wrong." Actually, it's unfamiliar, but thanks for sharing. Now, the enemy is not outside of you. The enemy, in fact, isn't real. The enemy is to convince you that your new experiences are dangerous. Anything new is a threat. Your pride. Now, that is an issue because your pride will tell you that you already know everything. And here's the trap: to know something and not to do something is really not to know, right? Stephen Covey, anyone know about that? So this is the trap. We need to befriend our fear. To fight it will only make it larger. Okay, so here's the first story on getting past these really big lies that have been bled through lifetimes and generations. I want you to think back far, far, far ago where Adam and Eve were in the garden. They had everything that they needed at their disposal. They had more than enough. In fact, more than enough was their default. It was their actual go-to, right? They had abundance in plants. They had abundance in fruit. They had abundance of land. They had abundance of everything and everything they could have ever imagined and more. But there was this one tree, just one, and it's all it takes is just one. And they weren't supposed to go and eat off of that tree, right? So they had all of this beautiful, amazing beauty all around them, but all they could see was the one thing that they were told not to touch. And you know what's even more crazy about this story? And I won't get into details because the principle is really what I need your awareness to sink into. In order to get to the lack, they had to dismiss all of the abundance to get to it. Isn't that insane? I'm going to say it again. To get to their one place of lack, a forbidden don't go there, they had to just focus on where they were going so much to what they couldn't have that they were blind to all of the abundance they already had right now. Isn't that crazy? So, how do we relate this to our own lives, right? We know not to go there, but subconsciously, unknowingly, we still go there. We go to the problem before we ever see what's going right. You may have miracle after miracle and never know it. Your greatest temptation in this life is to see where lack lies and dismiss abundance. You automatically are attracted to where you shouldn't go in the struggle of pain and limitation and being told no far more than you will ever be in contentment with all that you already have. Now, in this story, I want to talk to the woman who was trying to attract the healthy body, the perfect body, uh, the gorgeous, body that they're trying to embody, whatever, whether it's losing weight or, growing your hair out or being toned or being whatever it is that's going to make you feel more beautiful and in essence, feel more worthy. Isn't it ironic that as a woman, not talking to men here, ironic that as a woman, your biggest fear is how much you eat, when you eat, and what you shouldn't eat. The obsession with food alone, when the first thing that Eve ever ate was the apple, and how much shame was associated in that, right? So, from a psychological view, doesn't it make sense that shame is actually the biggest liar of all? And we're parting with it. So, let's get past the lies. Now, story number 2 is really interesting as well, because now we have to address our fear. Now that we know that the lies are present, that's cool. But how do we face the fear that we experience? Well, there is a law for this. It's called the law of advancement. So the idea is everything that goes up first must come down. And here's the biggest misunderstanding with fear. The illusion is to believe in the idea that we should only celebrate our life in upward momentum, upward strife, upward propel, right? We should only be happy in the idea that we celebrate upward momentum. In universal law, in the law of advancement, we are continually growing or we are dying. But like nature, we are never ever stagnant. So we are either growing or we are dying, but we are never ever just in one spot, always the same. So if we look to the eagle in this law of advancement, I want to tell you a story and it goes like this. There's a baby bird and he's in the nest. He's new to life and he has no idea that he has wings. But every single day, he watches his mama take flight, and then she brings him food. And every single day, he watches all of the other eagles soar, and he says, I want to be like that. I want to go where they're going. I want to do what they're doing. He has a desire to know. But here's what's crazy. The baby bird is so afraid to step out of the nest. The mama bird has to interject. Mama bird has to pick up baby bird. And before you know it, she throws him out. And he's screaming and he's falling and he's, ah. And right before he crashes or hits the ground, baby bird discovers that on his fall down, on his way down, is when he was able to take flight. Oh my gosh, isn't that beautiful? On his way down, on that flight down, is when he actually could take flight. So this relates to you when addressing your fear. If you are going down, that is a good sign of good tension, good stress. It means you're growing. And the universal law, like I said, is that nothing is stagnant. So we need to dismiss the illusion of fear and recognize that we will always go down before we take flight and then go up. We have wings, and until we are forced to change or choose to change, we don't even know our wings exist. Now, here's the catch. Love the eagle example because the eagle, after it takes flight, will have about 40 years to use his wings to go soar and to see places and create life. But then he has an important decision to make, just like the big D. He either dies, literally, he chooses a death, or he goes to the highest mountaintop that he can find. and he tears apart his beak and he destroys it. And then, if that's not enough torture, he plucks off all of his wings because he no longer fits in them. He's outgrown the body that got him to where he's at. So, in order to continue his next evolution, he has to destroy the very thing that gave him life in the beginning. Isn't that crazy? And the only difference between the eagle and you as a human is your agency, is your choice. It is your choice to be in heaven, or it is your choice to be in hell. It is your choice to take flight, or it is your choice to have and know death. Oh my gosh, right? If you're experiencing death right now, I want to validate the part of you that has experienced a very deep wound of some sort. But I want to take higher flight into the notion that you do not have to stay there, and it is time to change. So my question is, will you choose it? Will you choose your own evolution? Now, here's the next really cool thing about this. We're going to cut through and bust through some bullshit that's keeping you stuck because you haven't shifted identities, not yet, until after this training will I give you resources. But I want you to think about a queen or a king, okay? And I want you to think about their behavior, because they don't have the same bullshit excuses for staying in the victim consciousness. Because I hear too often, or maybe you're like myself, well, I need to save others. I need to rescue others. I am more righteous, and so by being a good leader, I save the people around me. In other words, the bullshit keeping you stuck is I am a victim because I help everybody else but myself. Now, here are so many reasons why that is a problem. A, you are enabling someone. B, you are sending the message they need saving. And C, you identify with a hero just to deflect from the victim in you that actually feels the same way. And because you don't like how you feel, you certainly don't want other people to have to experience those feelings too. Now, in that scenario, when you have a hero complex, you need to save others in avoiding of facing yourself. You just don't want to face yourself. Now, here's what's interesting is that the leader of a queen, does she get off her throne when the peasants are coming around her, when she's being held on her throne and she is being walked through? And there's peasants and they're pulling and they want her energy and her good light and her leadership and her, right? They want what she has. But does she get off of her throne and put down her entire way of being to go and rescue the peasants? No, never. Does a queen or a king have to get off of the throne to prove their royalty? Or are they so sure that the best way to model behavior and show others their light is to first walk it? Right? Isn't that crazy? Now, I'm a victim because I'm an empath, or I'm sensitive to other people, or I'm a victim because fill in the blank, is just an excuse that you have because you're deflecting on your own needs and may not even know what they are. You're playing the role of a hero in the lives of others to again escape what your own needs are by enabling them. This imprisons you because you never ever get farther, but you end up in depletion with no energy and less than where you started. You believe that you are the only one that can do it and is the best at doing it. Therefore, you are always in the cycle of burnout and stress, thus perpetuating a consciousness that never allows you to get to fully experience the heightened states of emotion that are available to you. So now we know that our next step, after getting past the lies and knowing our temptation to see lack, we know that there's a fear and we have to address it. We have to make the decision to go break the beak that once served us that no longer does. And then we have to shift our identity. We have to go from I view myself this way to, oh my gosh, I can model a new behavior and teach my body and my mind a new way of being. I can be the queen that I so seek out in the world. That is what is really true and possible for you. Now, I want to tell you one last story. Okay, this changed my life when I heard it when I was in the deepest of my own dark hell, struggling with divorce, struggling with a career that was no longer fulfilling me, struggling with wanting love, not feeling like I was enough, being overweight, and then trying even harder to fix all of these areas just to be perfect to get love. Right? When you're in that kind of cycle, oh my gosh, bash my head against the window. Like, it's not worth it. Okay. So think about this. The people that like don't have your best interest, or the people that you're like really close to that don't allow you to go forward, they're going to have to let you go, or you're going to have to release yourself from them. Now, you eat on the level of your vision, not on yesterday's leftovers, when you are a giraffe and not a turtle. So here's the whole story. When a turtle is on the ground, it is going to report at the level that it sees the world. It will tell you about the little cute hair like grass, and the turtle will report to maybe some water. The turtle might even report to some rocks that are maybe just as big as his shell. But most of the time, he can only see what's on ground level. Okay? He, the turtle, is not at fault for not having the vision of a giraffe. Now, the vision of a giraffe is not no small hair like grass. The giraffe is able to see past into the horizons, over the tops of the trees, and oversee the land. Now, the giraffe is not wrong for seeing his vision, for he is only reporting on the level that he is at. So, in the situation where the turtle is seeing the grass and the giraffe is eating above the trees, they are reporting on the level of their vision in which they are capable of. Now, if you're a queen, if you're a creator, if you're this full body magnetic being, which we've identified you are, we just have a few blocks, then it would make sense to not take advice from the turtle and to keep our mind focused on the vision of the giraffe. Here's what's interesting. When you are in victim consciousness, you will fall in traps such as people pleasing, wanting to be liked, doing anything and everything for the exchange of love, believing it's not already yours, right? So the victim is so attached to the trauma of yesterday's experience. So they eat on yesterday's leftovers. However, the mind wants to perpetuate the pain in images. So I'm going to give you the image of a giraffe. If the giraffe is to come down to the turtle's level, bending my finger, and try to people please and fit into what the turtle reports on, the giraffe will die. His heart will literally stop beating. His heart is so big that when he bends over his neck, the literal fluidity of the blood getting to the heart is no longer possible. He literally has a chance of dying because he wants to fit in and he wants to make the turtles feel big by dimming his own light. That is not how we grow into a consciousness of creating our lives. When people don't understand our vision, we're going to have to find the same family of giraffes that are reporting on higher visions. And then we can look to the eagle who sees past the horizon and can get to the other side of the country, who can go over the clouds, who has more ideas and inspiration. But in your box of people pleasing and suffocating to fit into other people's ideas and norms, you are then putting yourself in even more danger. So if you are going to be the giraffe, decide to stand tall, because it hurts you more when you bend over trying to be something even smaller than what you actually are in the full complexity of all of the magnificence that's oozing out of you, right? So in this story, it's really easy to see that the turtle isn't wrong. He just doesn't have the abilities of the giraffe, which leads to misunderstanding. That is why this training is so heavily focused on you, because it's easy to get caught up in, well, they did this to me, and it's about my mom or my dad or my ex-husband or the boy or the friend at school or the. They're just reporting on their level. So if you want to get to greater heights and you want to create a life that you love, you're going to have to hang out with giraffes. You're going to have to seek out the eagle. You're going to have to make the big D. You're going to have to get past the lies. You're going to have to address your fear, make the identity shift, and oh my gosh, eat at the top of the abundant trees that were already yours to begin with. Now, you need to find someone who has done it, because while you're scaling your problems, A coach will scale your possibilities, just like the giraffe, right? We need to cut the cords that have kept you small, cut the cords with the emotions that have you in a cycle of toxicity. And when you source your need to feel something like love and feeling loved and rich and magnetic and alive and free, you've hacked the matrix. You've literally freaking hacked it. Now, the matrix, it's just anything that keeps you in the confinement of limitation. It is the playing game from the outside in. It is trying to win the game outside of yourself and then going in. It is buying into the illusion and the ideas that go unchecked because of societal norm. Now, you're not thriving and you're not necessarily dying, but you're just above miserable, chasing for something that was already yours from the beginning. Now, children, oh my gosh, children are prime because just before age 7, they're not playing a game of worth or justification in their existence. They are very connected to their divinity. They express freely, and their emotions flow through them. They're connected to their innocence and their imagination and their passion and their dreams and their childlike wonder. They live in the new structure, which was really never new because we have forgotten. They are living the example in the new structure, which is to be, to then do, and then to have. And this is the rewiring that will take place when we work together one-on-one. This is what we are going to reconnect for. This is your solution. So here's where your feet are at right now. Again, it doesn't matter where your feet have been. We've identified where you've been, and now we know where you're going. There is always chaos after creation, and no, you're never doing it wrong. Somatic work will be the groundwork for increasing our capacity to receive. This is where we have the biggest blocks against the receiving and the miracles and in the creation of our lives, right? And with that, you have to ask yourself the deep questions. On your deathbed, are you really proud of yourself 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 50 years from now? Did you fully love yourself and choose to fly anyways? Did you hit your potential, or did you settle at the end of your life? Now, this is something you should write on your forehead, write on your wall, write on your mirror, write on sticky notes. Don't try to be positive, just tell the truth. And here's the truth. You are not incarcerated by your past. If you want out of jail, I'm going to give you the keys. Are you ready for this? Unleash your power. Your desires are knocking. They're calling. They're whispering, hey, look at me, right? Imagine waking up every single morning to the wish fulfilled. Imagine turning your imagination into reality, into tangibility. Imagine calling in your soulmate or the next perfect career, the perfect body, the next creation, the next juicy, yummy thing to take your next level. Imagine experiencing fulfillment without the chase and hunger. Wow. Imagine that life got really easy, really fast with even more trust. Okay, now imagine that today you could make a decision that you were worth it. Imagine all the emotional baggage that you dropped because you said, hell yes. Will you heed the call? Because your heart is knocking. So here's your next step: to invest in that future that is way brighter than your past. And I have an offer just for you through this training. Work with me directly as I coach you through the 4 foundational steps to accelerate your reality because you're totally worth it. Now, our journey together and what you can expect, we're going to shift from this victim to this creator in 90 days or less. Because in this deep training, we believe in quantum. We go fast. We believe in the speed of light. We know possibility. We know our creator, and now we're connected. What used to take people decades to heal in therapy and other modules only takes weeks here if you're willing to do the work. What you thought was impossible will begin to become your new normal. Your identity will shift fast when you get your hands on the 4 steps that will change the foundation of your life. Just 4. Because remember, it's simplicity that scales, and it's really complex things that fail, right? So we're going to attract with ease. We're going to become the positive battery of the spectrum. We're going to release the pressure to always be in the negative environment of your mind. We're going to shift from victim to creator in 90 days or less. You're going to have lifetime access to our recording coaching calls once a week, every single week for the next 12 weeks. For 3 months, you will have 60 minutes every week for 12 weeks using Zoom. The PDFs are going to accelerate your journey even faster because you will have tangible, actionable steps that are given each week. It'll be so obvious where you started and where you are. And the best part is the evolution is ever unfolding. My goal is to get you without the need of a coach within 90 days or less, to become self-reliant and self-empowered and so sure that you can bet on yourself, trust yourself, know yourself, and believe in yourself. Now, we are going to rewire the brain for miracles instead of worst case scenario. We're going to increase our energy levels, and that's what we're going to fix, right? We're tackling a bigger picture more than just your life. We're going to fix that top 10 issues on humanity's biggest struggles, and we're going to attack your energy and your human suffering and all of the ways that you feel depleted and robbed and stuck in your poverty to your story. Really, we're going to learn how to break out of the matrix designed to keep you feeling stuck. And if it did even just 2 of those things, aren't you worth it? Wouldn't you want to know what that is like? So here's the deal. Because you stayed and I was able to deliver this training for you, I'm giving you a discount here. Watch the miracle of your life unfold literally as you begin to say yes to life and life says yes to you. Click here if you're a hell yes. Yes, 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 yes. Celebrate it with me. Yes. Yes, you can. Yes, it's possible. Yes, you will. Yes, tomorrow is brighter. I'm really excited. And finally, last but not least, I want you to share this training to anyone inside of your circle that needs these golden nuggets, the inspiration, the stories, the clarity, the design, the overall picture of what is really possible, because together we are stronger. Now, let's awaken to our divinity. If you have any questions, reach out to me on my email. I'm also here through a website, and I want to have a relationship with you that is so personal. So go click hell yes. Let's get our one-on-one coaching signed up. And I'm so excited to see the creator that you become and to see what magic you make and what art you form in the form of your magnificence, right? We're going to take something really hard and we're going to alchemize it into something that is really, really divine, because we're no longer willing to believe the bullshit beliefs, right? So I'm excited for you. Thanks for joining this training, and share it with anyone that you feel will benefit from it. Thank you.